This story is titled, "My sister wants me to give her my hair to make a wig by shaving my head before my wedding because she has cancer. But something feels wrong about all of this. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I am going to get married in less than 2 months. Planning this wedding has been a mix of excitement and stress, as I think it is for most brides. This is supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life, but right now, I feel trapped and torn. To give some context, my older sister has been struggling with cancer for the past year. It has been devastating to see her go through this, and I have done everything I can to be there for her. She underwent chemotherapy, which caused her to lose her hair. A few months ago, she started wearing wigs, and we even went shopping together to look for some. It was a heartwarming moment of connection that I really appreciated. But now, I feel like her latest request, asking me to shave my head to make a wig for her, takes this to a level I wasn't prepared for. This didn't start just last year. It started 4 years ago, when my sister was first diagnosed with cancer. I will never forget that day. We were sitting in the kitchen when my mother came in with the test results. My sister had been experiencing unexplained symptoms, and the doctors were concerned. I remember my mother's hands shaking as she gave us the news. It was some of the worst news a mother could ever receive about her daughter. It was also incredibly hard for me. My sister had always been healthy, active, and full of life. She was the person everyone turned to for advice because she always knew what to say. When the diagnosis came, it devastated us all, but for some reason, my family's entire focus began to revolve around her. She became the center of attention, and I simply stayed in the background. At first, I understood it. I mean, she was going through something unimaginable, and I was happy to support her. But over time, something changed. I began to feel like her illness became an excuse for absolutely everything. Plans would be canceled at the last minute because she wasn't feeling well, and the family simply had to adjust. Of course, I had my moments too. I remember family gatherings where I sat in silence, watching as everyone gathered around her, asking what she needed. It felt like they ignored the fact that I also had important things going on in my life. My achievements seemed less significant, and my problems felt invisible. When she lost her hair due to chemotherapy treatments, it was devastating for her, as you can imagine. I remember when she called me crying on the phone, saying she no longer recognized herself. My heart broke for her, and I knew she needed me. I spent hours helping her choose wigs, sitting by her side as she tried them on, and telling her that she was beautiful no matter what. Fast forward to today, and now she's asking me to shave my head to make a wig for her. I was completely caught off guard. Shaving my head to make a wig with my hair just days before my wedding feels like too much to ask. Let me be clear, I deeply love my sister. I've been there for her every step of the way, and I want nothing more than for her to feel better and find peace during this horrible time. But this request feels extreme. My hair has always been one of my most distinctive features. It is long, thick, and healthy. I have spent years taking care of my hair, and I even plan to wear it in a special hairstyle for my wedding. The thought of cutting it right before one of the most important days of my life makes my stomach turn. I try to talk to my sister about it. I asked her why it had to be my hair when there are so many other options for wigs, hair donations, other people's hair, or even perfectly made wigs. But she kept insisting, saying, "Your hair is just different. It's the only one that will feel good to me." I started to question myself, wondering why she insisted so much. It felt like this was going beyond a wig. It felt like it was a way to tie me to her experience in a way I wasn't prepared for. I didn't want her to feel like I didn't care, but I also don't think it's fair for her to make this kind of demand. There are times when I feel guilty for even questioning it. After all, this isn't about me. This is about her trying to deal with cancer and looking for some comfort. But I also feel like she's asking for something too personal, something that I can't just give in to without sacrificing a part of myself. Then came the emotional blackmail. My mom, of course, is completely on my sister's side. She has been so emotionally involved in my sister's illness that she has often overlooked how I feel. The other day, she asked me, "How would you feel if you were in her place?" I couldn't even respond, because I don't know what it's like to be in my sister's place. When I hesitated, my mother became more insistent. She told me, "This is what our family does," and accused me of being selfish and insensitive. She even said that my wedding could be postponed, but that this moment with my sister would be unique. That's when I felt like I was losing my mind. This seems unfair. I love my sister, but I also have my own life. I have done everything I can for her for years, listening to her cry on the phone, taking her to chemotherapy sessions, and making sure she never feels alone. But now I feel like they are asking me to give up a part of myself, something that can be resolved in 1,000 different ways. My sister has always been dramatic, and I can't help but feel that this request is more about getting attention than about the wig itself. My fiancé has been supportive, but he is also surprised. He told me to do what feels right to me, but he also mentioned that I have already given a lot of myself in this situation. This is my wedding, my moment, and I shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to look and feel like myself that day. But then there's the pressure from my mom and my sister, and it's overwhelming me. Every time I try to express my discomfort, I feel like I'm the villain. I don't know. I feel so conflicted. I want to support my sister, of course I do, but I'm also struggling with the idea of giving up something so important to me so close to the most significant day of my life. Am I being unreasonable? Maybe it's selfish of me to want to keep my hair. But the thought of not standing up for myself or letting this request go makes me feel like I'm losing my own sense of identity. I need unbiased people who aren't part of my family or friends, to give me an objective answer. Update 1. I want to tell you that I am very grateful that you have read my story, in particular because the comments, advice, and personal experiences have opened my mind a lot. I've spent the last few days reflecting and researching, and wow, it has been a lot. I will be honest, when I first published here, I was trapped in the idea that I could be a terrible sister for even considering not helping her. My mother, especially, has always been super protective of my sister, and I didn't want to seem insensitive. But after reading some of your comments, I realized that I needed to think more critically about the situation and do more research before making any decision. So, I started asking my sister some direct questions. She kept insisting that her cancer had gotten worse and that she desperately needed my hair for the wig. But when I started to inquire about the progress of her treatment, she completely shut down. That made me a little suspicious, and things just didn't add up. Looking back, I realized there were times when I had overlooked her exaggerations or manipulative tendencies. Then, just when I was starting to back away from the idea of shaving my head, my sister did something I just wasn't expecting. She faked a medical emergency. My mother called me crying, saying that my sister had been rushed to the hospital because her condition had suddenly worsened. Apparently, she was in unbearable pain. I feared the worst. I was completely devastated and, to be honest with you, terrified. So I dropped everything, I mean absolutely everything, and ran to the hospital, thinking the worst had happened. But when I got there, something just didn't add up. My sister was fine. I mean, she looked pale and tired, but there were no signs of any medical emergency as she had claimed. Her oncologist came in shortly after my arrival. When I pulled him aside and asked what was happening, he told me that her treatment had actually been going very well. There was no sudden worsening. In fact, she had been responding to the medication better than expected. Her blood pressure had only dropped a little, which was normal, but they were monitoring it as a precaution. I couldn't believe it. My sister had lied to all of us. I was furious, but also deeply hurt. I mean, how could she manipulate me like that? Especially with something so serious. I had always been there for her. I wasn't sure what to do next. I was heartbroken, confused, and angry. I started to investigate further by contacting some of her close friends who had been with her during her treatments. It turns out that her cancer had been progressing much better than she had implied. They confirmed that the treatments had been effective and that she had even been talking about taking a trip soon. No one mentioned anything about her health getting worse or about her badly needing a wig. And this just kept getting worse and worse. Now, I'm really starting to question everything. Has my sister been manipulating the family to get attention? Is it just the wig, or is there something deeper going on? I'm not even sure who I can trust at this point. Update 2. Something happened yesterday, and I'm still shocked about it, so please understand if this update is not that well written or has spelling mistakes. After all the research I did, I finally decided to confront my sister. But what I didn't expect was a full-blown confrontation. Here's what happened. I asked her to meet me, but not at her house. I chose a neutral place, a park, because I wanted to keep the situation calm. I began slowly, asking her about the wig and whether her health was really as bad as she had claimed. I already knew the answer. I had talked to a couple of her friends, and things seemed a lot better than she had been telling us. But when I asked her directly, she stuck to the same story about her cancer getting worse. She kept clinging to that lie, and a part of me wanted to believe her. The more I asked, the more defensive she became. At first, she tried to make light of it, making it seem like I was exaggerating things. She told me I was being paranoid and that I just needed to be more understanding. Then she started making me feel guilty again, like I was the bad guy in all of this. She always knew how to manipulate me with her little blame games. She's done it for years. Of course, I let her get away with it because she was sick. But this time, I didn't let it go. I insisted, again and again, until she couldn't take it anymore. And then, like a slap in the face, she finally confessed. She admitted that she didn't need my hair for a wig at all. The cancer, the treatments, it was all a lie. She had been getting better for months, pretending for months. Months of making me feel guilty, making me give up everything to support her, sacrificing things for her, and it was all a lie. She didn't need me to sacrifice my wedding for her health. She wanted me to sacrifice it for her. Because she couldn't stand the idea of me marrying my fiancé. The more she talked, the more I wanted to scream. She admitted that, for the last few years, she had been in love with him, my fiancé. She thought that if she could create a big enough crisis, something serious enough to make me give up everything, she could stop the wedding. She wanted to destroy my future, my happiness, just because she couldn't get over it. She admitted that she knew I would never suspect her. She didn't know how he would react if she told him directly. But if she acted sick enough, weak enough, desperate enough, she could count on my guilt. She knew that if she played the role of the sick sister long enough, I would do anything to make her feel better. She didn't even seem to realize how disgusting it all was. She thought I should understand. She thought I would just let it go like it wasn't a big deal. Then she started crying. She said she didn't know what else to do. That she loved him. That she was afraid of losing everything she thought she could have. But none of that mattered. I was already too angry to forgive her or continue talking. I got up and left. No matter how much it hurts, I know I have to tell my parents. They deserve to know. They really deserve to know how she's been using us, manipulating us, and the lengths she's gone to in order to try to destroy our family and my life. She's been playing this game for too long, and I'm not going to let it continue. I'll update once I tell them. I don't know how my parents will take it, especially my mother. Update 3. Here I am with an update after having spoken with my parents. I would like to say that it has been easy, but I honestly don't even know where to start. The truth is that what came out today is much worse than I could have ever imagined. I thought I was done with the lies after confronting my sister. But I guess this is just the beginning. I did it. I sat down with my parents. It was a difficult, really complicated decision, but after everything that happened with my sister, I had to expose the manipulation. I couldn't allow her to continue pulling the strings, especially after everything she confessed to me. I was ready for the chaos, the anger, maybe even some tears. But what I wasn't prepared for was the heartbreaking revelation that came when I told them everything. When I explained how my sister exaggerated her illness and used it as a tool to manipulate me, I was met with silence. At first, I thought that maybe they were processing the information. But as the silence lengthened, something felt wrong. It was my mother who broke the silence, and when she spoke, I didn't expect to hear what she had to say. She admitted it. My mother, my own mother, knew about the exaggeration for months. She knew that my sister wasn't as sick as she claimed, but she chose to support the lie. Why would she do that? Because she thought it would help my sister. She said she believed that if they kept up the act, it would make my sister feel better about her cancer, and might even help her deal with the idea that her sister was getting married and moving forward with her life. She believed that this plan would give comfort to my sister. She thought that the pity and attention from everyone lifted her spirits, so to speak. That was what had helped her in the first place, according to my mom. But no one stopped to think about how all of this would affect me. How could she do this to me? How could she sit there, watching me suffer, watching me put my life on hold, without saying a word? She told me it was because she wanted to protect my sister. She thought that if my sister saw that I was willing to sacrifice something so important to me, my wedding, my happiness, it would show her how much I loved her. That, somehow, it would help her get through the last stage of her treatment. I want to make it clear that if they had told me this before, I would have done anything to help my sister. I have always wanted her to feel good. Even though she always received all the attention, it hurt me. But I also understood it.
But now?
Now, I don't see the point of all this. Not only has my sister been using me, manipulating my emotions for her benefit, but my mother, the one person I thought I could trust, has been involved this whole time. I feel like I've been living a lie. And to make matters worse, my sister keeps playing the victim. She doesn't even care that I know the truth. All she cares about is making sure I feel guilty, that I feel bad for questioning her, for wanting to get married without her approval. I am so sorry that she has cancer, especially since she still hasn't fully recovered. But I can't keep putting her life and her interests above mine. I don't even believe that she was in love with my fiancé. It was just another one of her many lies, so I would feel sorry for her. So I would say, poor thing, she couldn't have that, and forgive everything she's done so far. I think writing this has made me feel worse, because I'm finishing this update angrier than I was when I started it. Update 4. The last few weeks have been intense. I think you've realized that, but I can finally say that I'm defending what I want. I've had enough. I'm tired of continuing to play along with the lies, of letting my sister's manipulative behavior control my life, and of my mother's permissive attitude turning me into a doormat. It wasn't easy, but I took the advice of many of you who told me to stop hiding and start owning my truth. I had been repressing all the anger and confusion for weeks, but enough was enough. It was time to take control of my own story. This is what happened. After everything with my mom and my sister, I realized that I was suffocating. I was crumbling under the weight of their manipulation. But after discovering the truth, I knew that I could not allow this to continue. My wedding should be a celebration of love, not a stage for my sister to carry out her emotional blackmail. I made a decision that perhaps not everyone will like, but it was mine to make. I would finally make them face the consequences of all the trauma they had caused me over the past few years. I called some close friends and family members who I knew supported me. I invited them to a small dinner and told them I had something important to share. I wanted them to hear it directly from me. When it came time to hand out my wedding invitations, I made a very deliberate decision. I handed out invitations to everyone at the dinner. But when it was my mom's turn, my dad's turn, and my sister's turn, I didn't give them one. I just looked at them for a second, letting the tension grow. Then, loud and clear, I said, "You are not invited." The surprise on their faces was priceless. My mom's eyes widened. My dad, well, it seemed like he didn't even know how to react. And my sister just looked at me like she was ready to jump, but I didn't care. This was my moment. But I didn't stop there. I knew that hiding the truth any longer would only allow them to control the narrative, so I went live on my Facebook account and exposed everything. I told everyone about the lies my sister had told, the emotional manipulation, and most importantly, the complicity of my mom in all of this. I told them exactly what had been going on behind closed doors. How my mom knew about the exaggeration of my sister's cancer story and still chose to support the manipulation. The messages started coming in almost immediately. I received all kinds of comments, some from people who were angry with my sister, and some from those who were angry with me. But I was not going to apologize. I understand that it may not have been my place to tell everyone this, but my sister left me no choice. She was ready to continue manipulating and portraying me as the villain if I didn't comply with her whims. Of course, my sister tried to turn it around, claiming that I was being cruel and betraying her at her most vulnerable moment. But I didn't let myself be fooled. I knew the truth, and I wasn't going to let her continue playing the victim. As for my mother, her reaction was just as I expected. She called me to yell at me, asking why I was doing this to my sister and accusing me of ruining her recovery. I told her she had a choice. She could continue being complicit in my sister's manipulation and lies, or she could choose to be part of my life from now on. All my focus and energy is now on the wedding. I refuse to let anything steal that joy from me. My sister can continue with her drama if she wants, but she is no longer going to dictate my life. My wedding will be about love, not about playing into anyone's toxic narrative. I'm even more angry with my sister now because of some of the comments I read from people online. Many people have gone through an illness like cancer or have family members who have experienced it, and they shared how upsetting it was to see my sister use it as a tool to manipulate and lie. But that's not my burden to carry anymore. My wedding is in a few weeks, and I can finally say that I'm excited. If there's anything else I need to update you on, you'll know. But for now, I'm going to focus on what matters. Update 5. My wedding has come and gone, and despite all the drama that preceded it, I can honestly say that it was one of the best days of my life. I am finally free of the toxic mess that my sister and my mom had created. Now, I am looking to the future with my incredible husband, enjoying every second of our honeymoon. The wedding itself? Yes, it went pretty well. It was what you would call absolute and pure joy, something I hadn't felt in months. The day was about my fiancé and me, and we both knew we had made the right decision by leaving out the toxic energy of my family. Not having my sister and my mom there felt strange at first. I'm not going to lie, there was a small part of me that wished they could have been there. Maybe, somehow, they would have realized how wrong they were. But I knew, deep down, that if they couldn't respect me and respect my boundaries, they didn't deserve to be part of such a special day. The rest of my friends and family, the ones who truly understood the situation, filled that void beautifully. After the wedding, things got interesting. Both my sister and my mom have been trying to contact me. They've sent messages, emails, and even called. I admit that at first I was a little tempted to listen to them. But after everything they put me through, I've realized more and more that it's too late. Their apologies now feel empty, and frankly, I've moved on. They've both tried to make me feel guilty, my mom by saying how broken she is, and my sister still playing the "I only did it because I needed you" card. But I don't care anymore. Finally, I've learned that I need to prioritize myself, my husband, and my happiness. Update 6. I am making this update because many people have asked me about my story. It was strange to log into my account after so much time and find so many messages asking the same thing. I thought I had already finished my story, but if you want me to tell you a little about what has happened in these last 2 years, well, here I am. My life has been quite normal, free of drama all this time, thanks to not having my mother and my sister in my life. My father has tried to reconnect and apologize. As a result, he met my son, who was born a few months ago. My sister and my mother have not tried to apologize or reach out in any way, which is fine because having them away has completely changed my life for the better. However, I have received updates about my sister thanks to my father. He told me that, for a year now, my sister has been officially cancer-free. There is always the possibility that it could return, but at least for now, she is free of treatment and can continue living a normal life. Even though my sister is healthy, she has not stopped playing the victim card. Whenever she can, she claims to be a survivor and says she lives each day as if it were her last. I don't think it's a bad idea to face life that way, giving your best for as long as you have, whether it's 2 months or 50 years. However, even my father says he's grown tired of her behavior because she has been using that narrative to manipulate friends and family. It's not as effective as it used to be, but she still tries. I am happy for her, to be honest. But I think continuing with that victim behavior is disrespectful to people who are still actively fighting cancer. What she could do with her life now, in my opinion, is help other patients and support them. At least, that's what I think I would do if I were in her position. So, that's all I have to tell you. It's not much because my life has been free of drama, at least the kind my mother and sister used to bring. What do you think about this story? Have you ever experienced something similar, or do you know someone who has? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories.